Violent extremism in Asia and the Pacific means many things. I mean, the first thing we have to remember is it's got a long history in Asia, from insurgencies in Thailand to conflicts in Afghanistan. We've seen different types of extremism take place. Most importantly, apart from the history side of things, it doesn't have the ownership of one religion, doesn't have the ownership of one part of society. We find different religions committing violent extremism, different nationalistic groups, so the motivations are quite varied.
The situation today is very different. The wars today are very different from what they were in the 20th century. Today's wars are largely transnational. They're hardly fought between two countries. They're hardly fought between two militaries. The number of civilian casualties, civilian involvements in wars and violent extremism has gone up.
The debate has moved on from countering, which was essentially a military security response, to trying to identify the root causes, the root drivers of extremism. And that's where the concept of prevention comes in. And it starts with young people not being happy with the political system, with apathy, disillusionment, disappointment, their aspirations not being met. And so on the one side of the coin you have apathy, and on the other you have radicalization. So we have to look at where this process of radicalization starts.
There must be sufficient democratic space for young people, for different parts of society to sort of voice their grievances, whether it's through the economic sphere, whether it's through the political sphere. Now this is very crucial, because once people feel that their right to speak out is being snuffed out, they will definitely be pushed to take on violent measures, extremist measures to achieve their agenda or their objectives.
UNDP's approach is a holistic one. We've seen securitized approaches do not work. In fact, a securitized approach is more likely to lead to more violent extremism. So what UNDP does is gives a holistic approach. That is, it involves institutions working on human rights. It involves institutions looking at economic, social progression, and importantly, it involves communities. It's important to involve young parliamentarians in discussions on violent extremism, because we find the politically marginalised are those who are at risk of becoming extremists. Involving young people, giving them the opportunity, the aspirations, the hope to participate in politics, to be able to voice their opinions and to sort out their problems through discourse rather than violence is part of an essential ingredient in the whole part of preventing violent extremism.
And that's why dialogue, that's why constant conversations and engagements, especially by young members of parliament, is very important. And it could be with people who we don't agree with. But that is the true hallmark of a democracy. You cannot expect everybody to agree with you. And youngsters should be more patient, tolerant, understanding, instead of more dictatorial in nature.